to how can you do SEO for free, because I think it's important to know how to do it for free, because then you really understand the time savings that leveraging tools or hiring out for something like this is. Because I think it's important as a coach that we understand how to do something or what is involved in it. So that way we know what questions to ask if we choose to outsource it. That way we know we're outsourcing it to somebody that knows what they're doing, as opposed to is just going to take a generic keyword, run it through maybe an AI content generation tool, because those have been around a lot longer than just like the Chat GPT craze that started about this time last year. Actually, it's closer to November, but whatever. So that's what my purpose and my goal in sharing the Q&As from the membership that I have live with everyone is, so that way you can still benefit from knowing and the knowledge, even if you're not able to join us. But so SEO for free. I've already showed you how you can kind of ideate, come up with ideas for different keywords through this method. I will show you one when I hop over to the AI side of things in a bit, but because AI is not all bad. But it does have its place in ethically using it. So you'll see how I've got some extra data that you guys probably don't have here is by doing SEO for coaches, I can see that there is a larger volume with overlap, because this is about how many monthly searches happen in the United States. And if I was trying to pay to rank or to get clicks for this, I would expect to pay about $15 lead. The reason why is, and why this might look really high to pay for leads, is if you're used to running Facebook ads or something like that, is generally SEO is a higher cost service. Some packages that people will do will start at like, $5,000 or things like that. So $15 to get a $5,000 lead, there's a trade-off. So just some context there. Because I think context is really important, just when we're looking at data in general. And SEO, a lot of it is data driven and data informed. So overlap means that there's a lot of similar content or a lot of similar domains or ranking for these similar things. And so this gives me ideas of, since I do coach websites, you can't real SEO and websites kind of go hand in hand. So this makes sense. Excuse me. So Keyword Surfer is one plugin that I use in Chrome, or Brave, which is a Chrome-based browser as well. And so that lets me know of like, if I was going to pay for this, how much I'd expect. It doesn't tell me anything about like how hard is this to actually rank for. So another free plugin that I use that is actually by SEMRush is called Quake. And I will link to these in the comments and the descriptions where these videos eventually come to live. But what this does is it gives me some additional data. As you can see here, it loaded in, it's still calculating here. But this is like the authority score of the website. So, she, I think, has been around for at least since 2019 and has been putting a lot of effort into practicing, obviously, what she teaches. And she does also talk about SEO, because the only way to really get your domain authority up is to have pages ranking well in Google, as well as quality backlinks to your site. So she's probably done, I'm actually halfway certain I have seen her in some virtual summit or something I have attended over the years. And by doing that, it's more backlinks into her site. She's appearing in more places. So Google's like, oh, she's an expert on this. And so they rank her content and site accordingly. And so this also gives me some things as far as like, this is about, she gets about 100,000 visits to her site per month. I think. Yeah. And then how many pages. So it's not, they don't just visit the page that they search on, they also continue through. So this gives me some data that I can kind of compare in Google Analytics to see how my site stacks up. So again, it's all context into how you can look at this data to give you a better idea. So to kind of take it back to nutshell for ranking for free, we put our keyword in. I now have my SEO Quake gave me the estimated keyword difficulty, which is a 58.04, since that's super low contrast and hard to read. Not thrilled with that. But, oh, okay. So what that tells me is that for me as a news site, it would be difficult to expect to rank for that quickly. I would need to do some other things and build up some more content and get more backlinks to kind of work towards that. But it is still achievable. It's difficult, but achievable. So it's not just high quality content that's well formatted. It's also getting backlinks to that content so it gets up votes in Google's eyes. I would use the people also ask to help me generate questions that I need to answer within my content. And I would also go through each one of these. So I'll open hers up. And you go through maybe the top. I usually do about the top 4 to 5. Beyond 5, you kind of are just confirming patterns that you've likely already seen in the top results. But then you understand like what's the format people are looking for. These are guides. These aren't like your top 10 lists or things like that, though those are also very popular. If I was doing marketing for coaches, the top results for that are very numbers driven. She also holds a top spot for that as well. And so you would use that to see if, this one's using a, it's pulling in different parts of it where you can see this is a heading, this is a heading, this is a heading. And so we'll go into here. And so you can also see that she is linking to other sources externally. So she's showing that she's part of the ecosystem. And this is going to kind of answer one of the questions further on how to create high quality content. One of the other plugins that I use is this SEO meta in OneClick. And once you have your keyword research, so going back to the keyword research for free, you have a keyword, you're like, cool, this is one that I want to target. You're looking at the competition, say like, if I'm going to go after this keyword, this is what I'm up against. And so you can see that she's using SEO for coaches in her title, which is the #1 spot. You're seeing that she's using SEO for coaches in her meta description, which again, doesn't directly affect your rank, but it affects your click-through. So it is still important. You can see that she has it in her URL, and that she's using a properly structured site because she has one H1 tag, which is your first header. And something that I've seen a lot as a web designer, and I think early in my career I was likely also guilty of this, is using headings for aesthetic purposes instead of their actual intent, which is to provide structure to the site that informs screen readers. So people that are visually impaired use screen readers to read websites to them online. And if you're applying your headings strictly for a specific styling or something like that, you're better off working with your web designer to create a specific styling. They're called classes for things like your hero text or or just like your general text or a specific heading. Because if you're kind of usurping these, then you're going to wind up using them incorrectly. And you can see, how many links. Is this links inbound, or this is just how many links are on the site? So this could be links to her own post, because you do want to interlink your content. So if you've written a really big piece and then you know that you have some other content that's covered it, link to that content, because that helps Google see those connections and the dots in the relation. And from a user standpoint, if I'm reading this article and I wanted to go, okay, well, one, she's doing this to cite her sources because she's citing a website called Bright Edge here. I can tell that. You can't see it here, but the little tooltip for the URL that's in there, she's talking about benefits of SEO. And, as I scroll down, I can see the different tools she's talking about. And, she's talking about best keywords for, like, this is probably one of the reasons why she's ranking, is because she's addressing a lot of those tangential and connected keywords. And then, how do you create content that ranks? Well, you create content that stands out. And she's definitely somebody that walks her walk. So good on her. And so that's where you utilize the keywords in your content. The other one is, again, making sure that you're working with either a platform or something that does allow you a degree of either SEO control or speed. If you can, again, if only do this if you're not currently ranking for anything. Don't do this if you're ranking. And you check that through Google Search Console. Update your structure to where you're not using dates in it. If you've started with a WordPress site, update your permalink structure. You just need to do that. If you're thinking about a site migration, reach out or talk to somebody that knows and can help you with that. That's something that I do take on limited clients for web design projects. But that's something that should be part of the discussion as you're talking about things like site structure and how you want it to be. And that's also a good interview question of, like, how do you approach SEO as a web designer to set me up for success? They should be talking about providing a custom structure.